Hey guys, and welcome back to Okami. I'm curious about that title, mate. I don't know who the Kusa 5 are. I know who the famous 5 are, but the Kusa 5, that's new to me.
Well, you will just have to wait and see who the
Aww.
Kusa 5 are.
Oh, I know what that is. That is a chance to do a catwalk.
Indeed it is. Like, it's nice because we've been seeing these throughout the world and haven't really had a chance to do anything with them. But now they are here, and we can, so we're going to.
That was just a thing you could sell for Mones, right? Like Kutanani, whatever the fuck it was.
Yes, indeed it was. There's loads of stuff that you're just going to be able to sell for the monies. Annoyingly, probably you're not going to be able to sell them for quite as much as an Xbox One X.
Aww.
But still.
Timely, mate. That won't fucking date the episode at all.
Come on, we're recording this the week of E3. It's going out the week after E3.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. What astounds me, and Sonic Movies pointed this out, is, you know what the anagram, or...
It's Xbox.
Yeah, the acronym for Xbox One X is Xbox. That's not going to be confusing when, like, I don't know, a soccer mom or something wants to buy a console for a kid. What type of Xbox do you want? The Xbox One X? Ah, yes, the Xbox, right this way. Mom, why is it so big? Oh, help, it's crushing me!
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But there's something kind of... Well, I say kind of charming about it. The whole shebang of that conference was very corporate and also exclusive! 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 4K, 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 4K!
Not just exclusive, in brackets, console launch exclusive, which means it will launch first on Xbox One and then other consoles.
Yeah... I have to say that was, like, in terms of wording, that's like some of the cheekiest wording you could go for, because actually in terms of the semantics and the way the sentence works, console launch exclusive is either it's launching first on the console, or it's an exclusive for the launch of the console, or it's just like, you do realise that has a load of different meanings, none of which might be exactly what you're actually meaning it to be.
Well, they know what they're doing, mate. I'm not saying it's done maliciously or anything.
Oh, it's not.
It's just to cover their own asses.
Oh, definitely, and it's just a marketing ploy to say, you should buy it on our console, which is fair enough. They're trying to sell a bleeding console that's really expensive.
Yeah, and I guess, since we're bumming about doing, you know, side quest stuff, we can talk about E3.
Yeah.
What did you think of the EA conference?
It was an EA conference. Like,
A bit shy, wasn't it?
well, yeah, because there wasn't really anything. To be fair, we are not necessarily. Well, we're not really the target market for a lot of EA's titles because they do so many sports games, and that's just not us. But also the stuff that would have been more our scene, in the sense of they are more video gamey games, still not really our scene either, because
JRPGs, platformers, FPS, etc.
That's where we are more into JRPGs and generally stuff more out of Japan, to be fair. But yeah, but also just in general it was just a bit dull. Yeah,
and a bit cringy as well. They tried to go for the YouTuber presentation thing, which raises red flags in and of itself, but I'm not going to get into that fucking pot of worms right now. I did like this one game called A Way Out, which is essentially Prison Break 2, the race war starts now. By the way, watch the two best friends play for a Prison Break, it's hilarious. Just reusing a fucking joke from my Twitter feed here. God, do I have no shame? The answer is maybe.
Yeah, I was intrigued by A Way Out, but I don't think the split screen is the way to go. It looks like it could get particularly annoying quite quickly.
It reminded me of when the game goes split screen in Heavy Rain, honestly.
Yes, but you've got two people moving at once, and you've got the whole thing of it, someone could be in a cutscene whilst you're not, and that just looked weird.
Well.
But I'm not going to judge a game entirely when it's just been revealed, the guy on stage was incredibly passionate about it, maybe a little bit too cocky, which sends red flags, considering what we've had at E3 before with smaller developers getting quite passionate about their projects that are relatively untested.
Peggle 2! Jump up in the air.
No More Man's Sky.
No More Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky. I coughed too much in the middle of that and it sort of buggered it up, but it's fine.
I think I'd like Travis Touchdown flying through space trying to kill people and get to the centre of the universe.
I would totally be down with that, because Travis Touchdown makes any game better.
Man, I can't wait for No More Heroes 3, which is a real thing, by the way. Travis is coming back.
Oh, I know. Well, I don't think Suda51 has explicitly said that No More Heroes 3 is going to exist. He's just said that there's going to be a No More Heroes game with Travis Touchdown in it.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough.
But when that's going to turn up is a different kettle of fish altogether. Hopefully soon, because I need my No More Heroes fix. But still.
I'm hoping for, like, a happy medium, a nice mix of the first game and the second game without compromising on either.
Oh, yes.
Because I have a lot of issues with 2. Mostly that's when you get towards the end of the game, it throws so many enemies at you that my wrist starts to snap. But I also wasn't really a fan of the story in that game. I guess I just like the beginnings of the assassin game, you know, when Travis really is a loser and he tries to work his way up. And No More Heroes 2 seemed a bit too much in on its own joke, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, I totally get you on that one.
But still a fine game. I'm looking forward to Travis's return. Anything to give fucking Luxord's voice actor another paycheck is fine in my book.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, so we had EA, which was a bit... yeah. We had Microsoft, which the first 50 minutes was really boring, and...
It was standard Microsoft fare, really.
Yeah, and what annoyed me was that they'd bigged it up at the start of the conference of saying, we've got the largest and most diverse set of games ever, and I was just like, no, this is not diverse, this is not new, this is not fresh.
Yeah, then they proceed to show, like, shooter, racer, shooter.
Yeah, and then the last hour they did actually get quite diverse, and I was just like, okay, fair dues. But I still haven't forgiven you for cancelling Scalebound, so sod off.
Well, Okami wasn't anywhere fucking near that conference, so I think he's learned his lesson.
I have to say, that is probably one thing that will stay with me forever. Like, for this console generation at least, I'm not going anywhere near Xbox because they hurt my soul when they cancelled Scalebound. Therefore, they will not get my support. Because I'm that petty.
Well, you know, you've got to have some standards, I suppose. But yeah, the moment they went to Dragon Ball Fighters with a Z at the end, you could just feel like all the tension was released, the power levels exploded, Scatter's just fucking vaporized, it can't even comprehend the power level right now. That game looked fucking sick. And then you had other stuff like Ori, the Will of the Wisps, which I think is an exclusive now, whereas the original was multi-platform, question mark?
I have no idea. You also had The Last Night, which looked amazing. I know there's been a tiny bit of controversy because the guy who has created the game was apparently pro-Gamergate, and there was people concerned about that whole spiel, but it looks like he has clarified that his position on things has changed a bit since then in terms of social issues, but to be fair, unless the game that results in things is incredibly offensive in terms of those issues, let's just give it a chance first, wait and see what comes out, and then make that judgment of whether it's not good.
What I've heard, and this is all like, I hate to say you'll have to go look for it yourself, but I can't fact check right now because I would have to go dig a few tweets, and we are recording right now. Not like Richie who has stuff prepared. I just shoot from the hip, really. He basically said, because I think people were worried that it would be a game about bashing feminism, and you know, apparently Cyberpunk is, you know, you're against the fascists in Cyberpunk, you know, and so on and so forth. I don't know, I think people were just worried it would be a whole feminism, degradation, debasing kind of game, and he said it's not really about that. You know what, if it turns out that it is about that, I'll hold my hands up and say, shit, I was wrong. It looks great to me. I know what to say.
Oh yeah, like, visual style's amazing, and as an idea it seems great, but we know very little about it, and therefore, let's wait until more news comes out and then we can judge it for what it actually is.
That being said, if you want to judge it right now, go ahead. I don't give a shit about anyone's opinions but my own. That's what's great about being me.
Indeed.
What else was at Microsoft's conference, mate?
Well, I know that there was another game that I liked the look of, but I actually can't remember what it was called. It came very soon after the last night. I'm going to see if I can scroll back through all of my ridiculous amount of tweets to see if anything turns up.
Was it an RPG by any chance?
Oh, it was The Artful Escape. Which was that sort of... It was that music platformy type game that looked totally ridiculous that came pretty much immediately after the last night.
Oh, that thing. I saw that and I thought, is this Double Fine? Because it looks very reminiscent of their last game.
Yes. So I was... That one excited me.
It's got a lot of character.
Oh, yes. But then it sort of dipped a bit because they went on through Sea of Thieves, which, to be fair, looks like it could get boring very quickly.
Jesus, I've never seen the definition of lovely looking but bland in my life. Sorry, Rare, you probably should have made Banjo-Kazooie free instead.
Yeah, so in the end it ended up being a decent conference.
Yes, it did. It was pleasantly surprising, I'd say. If EA was a D, I would say Microsoft is a B- saved by the second half.
Oh, definitely. I haven't watched Bethesda's yet, but apparently that was dull as dishwater.
Yeah, I ain't watching that shit.
And then there was the ridiculousness that was Devolver Digital's.
Yeah, they did basically a troll conference, and it was only 15 minutes long, where they basically ragged on shit like unethical business practices. Yesterday's unethical business practices today.
Yes, and it was very on the nose.
It was, yeah. Soul, it was not.
Yes, it was... It was quite fun. Maybe a bit too ridiculous. And I'm pretty sure they were trying to sort of announce some games in there as well.
Yeah.
But it was just so sort of off-piste that it was just like, are these real or not? And yeah, it's just slightly just like, you just sat there going, I'm not quite sure what I've just watched, but okay.
Yeah. And coming up today at the time we're recording this is Ubisoft and Sony. Looking forward to those. I know you can't watch Sony's because you've got work in the morning, but I'm looking forward to it myself.
The thing that's quite hilarious is that not only do I have work in the morning, I have work super early in the morning because we've got a press launch.
Oh.
Yay! And then I'm there until very late at night because we've also got a press night.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, you're gonna miss Nintendo's as well.
Oh no, I'm gonna see Nintendo's because that's at 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And I will, depending on whether I'm the one who's taking some celebrities to the radio or not, I should be back in the office by 5 o'clock. Therefore, I will be watching the Nintendo conference at 5, and I will be happy because it will be there, and then the press night can happen later, and it's not a bother. Also, I think people might have been freaking out earlier that I'd missed that particular chest. It's fine, I've got it now! Yay!
Always bet on Richie. What was I going to say? Oh yes, so if you're expecting us to talk about Ubisoft and Sony in Friday's upload, I think, don't expect that, because obviously it will have to come, next week at the time of upload. But what are you expecting from Nintendo, mate?
Well, obviously we're expecting a bit of Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, that's their big game at the conference, like Breath of the Wild was last year, yeah?
Yes. I suspect we will get a tiny bit of ARMS, a little bit on Splatoon 2. We'll probably also get potentially another small trailer for Pokken Tournament DX and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Well, out of those, I'd only want one for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because the rest are existing games. I mean, Splatoon isn't out yet, ARMS is, and I'm not really a fan of them advertising already released games and stuff that's meant to be... Well, they're just advertising pieces in general, but I would just prefer they focus on, like, new or stuff coming out soon, rather than releases.
Yeah, so there's those. We'll probably get a redo of the Skyrim trailer that Bethesda had, which is fair enough. We'll probably get the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle trailer.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Either it'll come in Ubisoft's tonight, or it'll come then, or it'll be in both. Doesn't really matter, it's probably going to get revealed. It'd be a bit daft not to at this point.
Yeah.
And then I really don't know. Like, I'm hoping that there's a Platinum Games game there. That would make me very happy indeed, especially if it were Bayonetta 3.
Ooh.
Obviously, I'm not going to hold out hope against hope that will happen, because I know that I would be heartbroken if I set myself up to believe that that's going to happen and it didn't.
Well, that's part of what E3 is about. Hype that reaches the heavens and reality that brings you crashing back down.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Richie. we've talked about you hurting me. This can't go on anymore. Yeah, Ansel said it's not going to be at E3, so it's fine.
Yeah, so we know for this year.
Although, one thing I did like is there was a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that went out just before E3 started. And I didn't know it wasn't going to be at E3, Kingdom Hearts 3, but the fact we got a trailer, and at the end of that trailer it said, join us next month, July 15th at the D23 Expo, where you'll see a new world and a new trailer. And apparently Nomura said final info for the game, which may or may not be a release date. I'm satiated, I'm satisfied with that. Just give me news of when stuff's coming, and I will be a happy camper.
Oh, definitely. And to be fair, the trailer that was released was pretty good, and to see the difference between the 2015 trailer and this year's trailer is just stunning.
Oh, yeah.
And also, it looks far better than 0.2 does, because 0.2's models at times look really weird and plasticky. Less so than they did initially, but Kingdom Hearts 3 just looks so much better. So, the Kusa 5, the eponymous group that this part is titled after, or slightly backwards, but yes, it is the Canine Warriors, since there's only 5 that stayed with Princess Fusei. They have become the Kusa 5, because obviously this is the Kusa village. There are 5 of them, therefore they are the Kusa 5.
We have to fight them all at once, that's dope!
Yes! Now, fun fact, whoever did the Scrolls programming for the Kusa 5 cocked up, because the scroll that turns up is the ice mirror.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's not a dog, that's a face.
It's ridiculous. I don't know why, I don't know how, but that's what occurred. Now, obviously, this is a very challenging battle, because even though you're taking down the Kusa 5, you are actually facing down all 8 of the Canine Warriors in one battle.
Okay. Whoa, what the fuck was that?
That was an Exorcism Slip L, because I thought that would give me a bit of a boost in terms of taking these guys down. To be fair, what I would have been better off doing would have been using a Super Steel Sake to increase my attack power. But these things happen. Either way, this is always going to be a slightly lengthy battle, because these guys do have a lot of health, and they are just quite powerful. And also because you're facing down so many of them at once, you're kind of constantly dodging in and out of getting in combos.
Oh man, I loved like themed team battles. They're always so exciting.
Oh, definitely. Though I will say that basically, from what I remember, the rest of this part is battling the Kusa 5.
Oh. Alright, I guess we'll talk about what I'm expecting from Nintendo. we heard tell that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 got pushed to 2018, like February or so, which I'm not surprised by, and they've already got an RPG this year in the form of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which honestly looks pretty promising. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I'm hoping for a new trailer for that, because they literally showed like 5 seconds, which, to be fair, they always do. When they announce these games, remember like X and Y, that was like 10 seconds of, you know, France, and that was about it really.
Pretty much, yeah, that was slightly depressing that day.
Anything else besides like a new Mario Odyssey trailer? I don't know. Reggie said there's going to be some breaking news at some point, and you know, don't forget, Nintendo, they're doing a lot this E3. It's not just their, you know, little special E3 Direct thing. They've also got tournaments for like ARMS and Pokken. I think there might be one for Splatoon, but don't quote me.
There is, yes. Well, Splatoon 2.
3 tournaments.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Plus all the Treehouse stuff, and man, you know, they do things slightly differently. They don't have a proper conference, but Nintendo has really been bringing it the past few years. They've really, like, honed in on what people want from E3, which is news, game coverage, and what can I say? I'm pleased. You know, I don't think the one where Star Fox Zero was announced was a pretty good Direct, but the rest of it was sick.
I mean, that was an incredibly unfortunate year from what I recall, because I'm pretty sure that that year was Satoru Iwata's last Direct, and it was pretty heartbreaking when he died not long after, because obviously everyone had moaned so much about that Direct, and he'd apologised.
Oh yeah, the apology, yeah.
That was just heartbreaking. But to be fair, it wasn't a horrendous Direct, it just wasn't special.
I've seen worse, but I've seen better.
I think it's the problem that a lot of people have with E3 is that if it's not the best thing ever, then it's clearly awful. And we all know that that's not true.
Well, I think that's a generalisation. People are allowed to be disappointed, but
oh yeah, definitely.
You know, we all say hyperbolic things in the spur of the moment, so I don't know. It's E3 hype. I won't begrudge anyone for you know, getting a bit heated.
Oh, definitely not. But obviously, let's avoid saying that it's the worst thing ever, because you never know when a beloved video game icon might pass away.
Yeah, so don't ever say the playthrough you've watched from HFC is the worst shit ever, because who knows, I might keel over the next day, and it will probably be from something utterly unrelated, because that's how life works.
Well, pretty much, yes. But either way, it just goes into the whole thing of don't be a dick on the internet, because nobody likes that.
Let's not get preachy now, Richie. If you want to be a dick, but don't whine when the consequences come your way, because that's how life works as well.
So, we're on to the second bit of the battle against the Kusa 5. We're taking down the 3 canine warriors who buggered off to stay with other people. Brought here by some sort of spirit magic, I don't really know, but they're here anyway, so what the hey.
It doesn't need an explanation, it's hype, mate.
Now, the thing that I find quite hilarious is that, so when I was recording and editing the Okami walkthrough, I got to pretty much right at the end of the game, and I got to the Demon Gate trials, which are incredibly long battles, and I was just like, I can't split these up into different parts because that's ridiculous. They're just, I just do not want to be doing that. But also, by the same stretch, I did not want to be doing parts that were like an hour and a half long, because that is also ridiculous.
Well, yeah, especially for me. I tried.
Well, just think, just me, that would have been awful. So, at the time I was just like, surely there's got to be a way to speed up footage, because I didn't think I was able to do it on the editing software that I have, because I only have Sony Vegas Movie Studio. I thought that speeding up was only available on the Pro version, but then I can't remember who it was in the HFC chat. It might have been Neo, might have been Chaff, it was somebody was really lovely and helpful, and said, well, if you just press this one button and drag, that'll change the speed of it, so you can slow it up and speed it down. What? speed it up and slow it down. At which point I was just like, oh my god, I've had this ability for years and not known, because I would have used it on Blooming Bayonetta 2 during the attack climax stuff.
Yeah.
So, but by that point, I'd already done this part. Like, it was all rendered and all set up, and I don't know whether I'd already done the commentary, and I was just like, oh, for God's sake. So this part ended up being as it was, while the other ending parts got sped up where necessary. So
I think this is fine in terms of the length of time, mate, because it's exciting, there's a lot going on, there's unique enemies on screen. It's not just like a battle royale of standard, you know, thug enemies, you know?
And also you're getting to see a whole thing of weapons, because you've seen the Trinity Mirror in action, you're seeing the Blade of Kusanagi in action, you're seeing Army's Wolf Fu in action. And yeah, I mean, it's a fun fight. It's easily one of the most challenging fights that you can face normally. Like, obviously it's optional, and I would only recommend doing this if you are fully prepared to take on the challenge and have enough holy bones and so on and so forth to deal with it. But it is quite fun because so much of the game is quite easy. And really, on my first run through of the game, none of the game was a challenge, at least in terms of the combat.
Yeah.
And some people can find that to be really frustrating. I'm okay with that, because I'm mostly invested in Okami for its story and the world, less so for its combat. Largely that is also why I was quite excited at the prospect of Scalebound, because in terms of its world and characters and narrative it seemed quite exciting. But it was nice to experience a battle that was actually a bit of a challenge, because it wasn't something that I was necessarily quite expecting. But also you can see that I absolutely love the joy that is Veil of Mist. It's an absolute godsend in these battles.
Oh yeah, I can't even imagine doing this without any time slow powers.
Oh, it would be ludicrous, because you'd have them just doing that constantly, and because obviously they're attacking generally at the same time, actually, to be fair, you just wouldn't really be able to get any purchase in the middle of a battle, because you're just going to be constantly dodging and diving. At least when you're slowing down time, you can go, well, he's not attacking at the minute, therefore I can put the hurt on him. It's basically sort of acting like Final Fantasy XV's wait mode, which allows you to pause combat for a minute just to figure out, okay, I'm going to target him with that, and do it that way.
You know, I still haven't opened my copy of FF15. I'm still working my way through World of Final Fantasy. Why did I have to get 3 RPGs when I got my PS4? I tried to play them all at the same time, you know, a bit at a time, and then I figured, you know what, I'll just play one at a time. I'll play one to completion and then do another.
Yeah, this was also a problem that I've had, because last year I got Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE when it came out, and just didn't have the time to sit down and play it, which was really frustrating. I wish I had had the chance, but life got in the way and it just wasn't possible. But then also I managed to find Tales of Vesperia for the Xbox 360 in CEX, and I was just like, oh my god, I've not seen that forever. Well, ever, to be fair, actually. So, it was just like, you know what, that's the one Tales game that I've wanted to play, that I've not had the ability to. And so I thought, well, I'll get that. But then didn't get the chance to play it. So that's sitting on my back shelf.
Gamers, am I right? Those are our problems.
And then at the start of this year, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 HD Remix came out, and I thought, well, I need to get that, because one, I've never played Rechain of Memories, and it's the only Kingdom Hearts game I've never played, therefore I'm kind of obliged to play it. And I want to play it because I've never experienced it, and I want to. I'm kind of slightly now ever so slightly regretting that decision, but not majorly because it's still a game that I want to experience.
I think it's a fun game. I think you'll like Reverse Rebirth better because it puts less emphasis on... It essentially gives you a pre-made deck for each world.
Yes, so I think I probably will enjoy that more. But yeah, so I've ended up with 3 RPGs, and I'm just like, for God's sake, just making my backlog grow, because that's also got a couple of RPGs, because I've still got Final Fantasy X to finish, Final Fantasy X-2, Spectros 2, which is technically, well, it's an action RPG of sorts, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, Super Mario RPG. I've got too many bloody RPGs. I'm just sat there just going, ah! And there's more games coming out. I'm just like, for God's sake, I don't have the time anymore, but I want them.
Well, such as the perils of growing up and having responsibilities, I suppose.
I know. Also, first world problems, eh?
I mean, these are the problems you want to have in life. Being spoiled for choice, you know. That's a happy problem, I'd like to call it. Dude, this fight is pretty hype. Who is this guy again?
This is Tay, I believe. Oh God, I'm not quite sure. let me double check that.
Dude, you fucking comboed his ass there, almost at 99.
I know, it's because I'm amazing. So yes, this is indeed Tay, who is the leader of the Kusa 5.
You know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's just let's just move on to a different subject, eh?
When will Nintendo announce Donkey Kong 64 2, which I guess would technically be Donkey Kong 128?
Well, to be fair, they would call it Donkey Kong Switch, surely. If they were going on the Donkey Kong Country 64 naming convention, it would be Donkey Kong Country Switch.
Speaking of Donkey Kong, do you think Retro's making fucking Donkey Kong Country Returns free?
Don't know. We shall see. I would like to think that we'll see Retro's project. That would be quite nice. For some reason I've heard inklings that it's a new IP, which I'm also totally down for.
Yeah, I feel like Sakamoto is working on it or something.
Yeah, but we shall see. It may turn up, it may not. This is the joy of predicting E3 stuff during E3, because it's going to get to when this is released and everyone's going to be like, well, you guys were just talking completely out of your asses. Yes we are.
Yes. Almost there, mate, almost there.
I know. It's like, so close. Just die. Please.
So, any closing thoughts on the Kusa 5, mate?
It's a really cool fight, and I'm really glad that I did it, because it is just a greater challenge than you will have faced before, in terms of Okami's battling, and because of that, it's great fun.
We better get a butt ton of praise for this. Oh boy.
I can't remember whether we get praise for it or a stray bead, but we definitely get something. And also I like how he seems just like, yeah, so where were they during the battle against the Crimson Helm? And she's just like, oh, well, we were... It doesn't matter now, he's dead. And it's just like, thank you. Oh, so good. We get a butt ton of praise, and we get a stray bead. So... all good, if you ask me.
Yeah, we both got what we wanted, mate. Unlike in E3. Jesus Christ! I don't go into these things all pessimistic. I shoot for the heavens, really.
Well, that is good. Because if you shoot for the stars, even if you... well, what is it? If you shoot for the moon, even if you fail, you'll land amongst the stars.
Or you die in the vacuum of space, however that phrase goes.
Well, yes, I mean, that is probably more likely to happen, but you've got to go with the romantic vision of things. It's why people find Romeo and Juliet to be so romantic, because they're two star-crossed lovers. No, they kill themselves. That is how their story ends. It's not a happy tale, it's a tragedy.
Isn't it like... I wanted to say it's a murder-suicide, but it's just double suicide, isn't it?
Yeah, it's double suicide. But there is murder involved in the story, so you're not far wrong.
Oh, and bitten thumbs as well. You don't want to be biting your thumb at someone, not in those times. I know a little bit of Shakespeare, mate. Enough to pander to you. That was a good part. We spoke about E3. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just rank our own videos there. That's for you to decide, not us.
Yeah, I think I would give it, like, an A+++ rank, because clearly we are, like, amazing.
I give it a B-. Like, the first 15 minutes we're just all talking about shooters and FPS games. Not a lot of diversity. But when Tom started talking about Nintendo in the second half, that's when I really started to get interested. And then it just shot up to a B-. A little bit of satire for you there. Oh yes, oh yes.
So yes, we are basically done in this part of the world. So we're gonna head off back to Agata Forest and Shinshu Field, I believe.
We got some plot coming up, mate.
Teeny bit of plot.
Teeny bit of plot. Join us next time for a teeny bit of plot.